bitch, I got problems on problems on problems on problems on problems on problems I solve them. I run through the money, the pressure be calling. Left on my blessings, I feel like I'm falling. The birdie is back. Tell me I'm garbage, I'm going through something.
Oh yeah.
Problems on problems I solve them. I run through the money, the pressure be calling. Left on my blessings, I feel like I'm falling. The birdie is back. Tell me I'm garbage, I'm going through something. That's why I ain't calling. Phone and progression is
2.7 times his body weight raw. 2.7 times his body weight raw. No shirt. This is all sin.
Shirt. Yes.
Like you wasn't pushing the kid to the side.
What is up, everybody? This is Michael C coming at you with another video. And as you can see by the title and the introduction, this video is going to be a recap of Raw Nationals 2019. Before I get into things, I want to start off this video by saying a few things. First and foremost, I want to give a shout out to my boy Mark Harris. That little edit that you saw at the beginning of the video, he was the one that actually put the edit together. And not only did he put it together, he did it using only his phone. He has, a whole camera set up and everything else. But unfortunately, due to the circumstances, having limited footage, I wasn't able to finish my deadlifts, which I'll get into that later on. But with that being the case, and with them not allowing him to record with his actual recording footage, he put everything that he had together using a phone. So, I mean, that is extremely impressive, no matter who you are. So I really want to give a huge shout out to him for even, flying out and doing everything that he could, despite being limited on what he was able to do. So big shout out to Mark. If you want a video like that, or if you want, to just watch his videos or anything just to support him, period, I'm gonna have his Instagram somewhere at some point, and I'm also gonna put it in my in the bio, in the information on this video. So big shout out to him. Another shout out to Dylan Vanderwerf. I hope I'm not saying your name wrong, but he's a guy that's been following me for a while on Instagram, and he actually messaged me a couple of weeks ago, basically telling me, hey man, I found your YouTube and I really like your videos. And he decided to help me in buying a microphone. So that is huge to me. That is to know that anyone, even just one person, watches and enjoys my videos to that degree. That means a lot to me, seriously. And I'm not using either one right now just because I'm in the car. I'm headed to the gym, and I wanted to make this intro, kind of quick, because this is going to be a pretty long-winded video. There's going to be several parts to it. So I just wanted to make this introduction real quick. So the next clip that you see, I'll be using the mic, but just wanted to do this one real quick. So again, shout out to Dylan Vanderwerf. I'm gonna put his Instagram down at some point in the video, and I'm also gonna put it in the information as well. But anyway, as I said, this is gonna be probably a pretty long-winded video. I'm gonna try to keep it, nice and simple to the point, but there's gonna be quite a bit to cover here. It's gonna be in multiple parts. I'm gonna start off by showing you my squats, then I'm gonna talk about my squats, then I'm gonna go on to bench, and then I'm gonna do the same thing with my deadlifts. And then afterwards, I'm gonna talk about the meet as a whole, how I feel, and what my future plans are. So without further ado, I'm gonna cut this part off, and then the next time I talk to you guys is gonna actually be getting into things. So I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. All right, so I'm gonna start this off by just going back from after Worlds back in June through my prep going all the way to now. So anyway, after my prep in June, well, first off, the last like 8 weeks or so, I was kind of working with Marcellus Williams, the Swolefester, a little bit. I wrote out my own block, my own like last eight-ish weeks or so of training, and Marcellus kind of oversaw it and helped me out a little bit in there. But we started officially working together after Worlds, and so we both had a goal in mind to show up to nationals and just for me to have a great meet overall. And so prep went amazingly, like everything, all 3 lifts clicked pretty much through the entire prep. And we kind of knew that basically the main thing that I needed to really improve on was my deadlift, which it was already seeing excellent progress. And then I pulled a pretty easy 7.5 kilo PR at IPF Worlds. I pulled 6'11", 277.5 kilos. So the goal going through this entire prep was to get my deadlift at a more competitive point, so around that 290 to 300 kilo range. And so you guys saw a little bit of my training. If you followed me on Instagram, you saw a lot of bit of my training, and you saw that my deadlifts improved drastically. So I truly believe that I could have pulled, well, I'll get into my deadlifts later on a little bit more. But anyway, prep went so well. But unfortunately, a couple of things happened that may or may not have had an effect on meet day. But anyway, 2 weeks out, well, actually 1 week out rather, I hit my last heavy single, my last heavy squat single, which was 282.5 kilos, 622 pounds. And as I was racking that, we missed the rack and I fell backwards, and it didn't really, thankfully I didn't get seriously injured, but I did kind of strain my lower back a little bit, so that kind of got to me for like a week or so. So I mean, thankfully it wasn't anything serious. Like I said, my wrist also, my right wrist, or actually my left wrist rather, because of the way that I bailed the weight, it bent my wrist backwards. So my wrist was also kind of out for a week or so, but that didn't really have too much of an effect. But what really threw things off was having to have blood drawn 2 days out from the meet. And the reason why that had to happen was because I was OMT'd, which for those of you that don't know, that means out of meet tested. I'm on a whereabouts list. Me, along with a lot of the other national team members, were on a list where we can get randomly drug tested at any point of the year. And we have to provide a 60-minute window every day of the week where they can come test us. And so mine just happened to fall 2 days out before the meet. I'll go into a little bit more detail for why that matters later on. But anyway, aside from that, prep went amazingly. Like I said, once again, I hit PRs on all 3 lifts. My best squat single, like I just said, was 282.5 kilos, 622 pounds. My best bench press was 205 kilos, 452 pounds. And my best deadlift was 290 kilos, 639 pounds. So my confidence was sky high going into this meet, and I felt like this was going to be the one. I mean, let me be transparent here. Being in the 74 kilo weight class, the top dog is Taylor Atwood, not just in the 74 kilos, but pretty much in the USAPL and arguably in the world right now. So, I mean, the goal going into this, it wasn't purely to come in and beat him. Of course, the number one goal is to come in and just have a good meet, like a good overall meet. and wherever that puts me is where it puts me. But with that being said, we definitely wouldn't have minded beating him, which I think was possible based off of what I was capable of on the day. But anyway, I don't want to get into everything right now. Let me just get into squats. I'm going to show you guys my squat attempts before this, or before the next part of this video, and then I'm going to talk about my squats after that.
If I'm not mistaken, he competed at Worlds too, right?
I think so, yes.
Come on, Michael. On deck is Taylor. And Cole, on deck is Taylor.
Ray Williams will be lifting Sunday, and he will be lifting all the weight. You guys know how it goes.
And Ray's got something to prove, folks. So I would tune in on Sunday.
Wow.
Puts it all out there. He enjoys it.
Michael up next to finish off the second round squats with 275 kilos on the bar. Let's see if he can make it look as easy as both Taylor and Austin.
Now, for you guys at home, they're not just resting the bar on their shoulders. They are literally pulling the bar down onto them, trying to bend that bar onto their back and be as tight as possible. There you go. Nice, solid walk out there for him.
Oh, wow.
It was game on.
Taylor easily.
Oh, yeah. There's no doubt. This right now could be a turning point for me
Oh, yeah.
very quickly. I mean, we've already seen some of the guys who wanted to get up to the top of this kind of fall by the wayside already.
Right.
Because they're trying to match everybody else. But right now, Michael Say is ready to make good his own stamp on the 74 kilo class. Take away Taylor Atwood's record that he just set 60 seconds ago.
Let's go, Michael.
All right, so first off is squats. These were just going off all prep. Like I hit so many rep PRs, I hit multiple single PRs, just PRs across the board. So I mean, of course, I felt really good about these going into the meet. The goal for me, honestly, at the beginning of the prep was just to hit 600 in a meet. Not that I didn't expect any more than 600, but I was just like, honestly, just showing up and being able to squat 6, I would have been like completely fine with that. But obviously, as prep went along, that changed a little bit. That number kept climbing up a little bit more, and by the end, we were like, you know what? If I can hit 290 or 295 on the day, and it be a smooth, like, undeniable single, then we're gonna go for that. Because the game is to build your total as much as possible. Obviously, we want to go 9 for 9, but with this class of 74s being as stacked as it is, you have to find the balance between making sure that you get all your attempts and not being super conservative. Because if I would have went in and just made the goal to squat 6 when I know that I'm good for 633, 639, I mean, obviously that's not gonna do enough to maintain a top position as far as podium is concerned. So that ended up being the goal, to hit around 290 kilos, 639 pounds. As you saw, my squat opener was 260 kilos, which that would have set up with 15 kilo jumps to end at 639. My opener was, I mean, it moved extremely well. Like, definitely the easiest I've moved anything close to that. So I already knew after that, okay, yeah, we're going 275. We're gonna squat over 6 for the second attempt. For a my bad, I gotta calculate this real quick. I hit 267.5 at Worlds. So that was 275. So that was a 7.5 kilo meet PR, and just off the bat on my second attempt. And you saw that was easy too. Like, it moved like nothing. Like, I've never moved anything close to 6 like that before. So I knew after that, I mean, honestly, I probably could have squatted like 292.5 to 295 on that day if I needed to, but there's no need to try and push that too much. We knew that I could for sure get 287.5, which was 633 pounds, and that's still like a massive PR for me. So I was like, as soon as that ended, I told Marcellus put in 287, and that's what we went for. And as you can see, I got that for a pretty smooth third, for an American record and an unofficial world record. So, I mean, after that, I was like on top of the world. I was feeling amazing after that. That was just that, like, in that moment, just after everything that I've gone through with my squats, like just being injured in the past and being up and down, and just knowing, okay, this is a great start to what is about to be a great meet. I felt amazing after that. So yeah, we ended with 287.5 with a little bit in the tank. So that is just huge for me. I never would have thought even 600 would be like possible for me a few years ago. So now I'm squatting mid sixes. So with that being said, 300 keys next year, question mark, we'll see. But anyway, we're gonna move on to bench next, and I will show you guys my attempts, and then I will talk about them afterwards.
Like 40 seconds later, if he doesn't make this opening attempt bench, it's all for naught right here.
I have a good feeling Michael's going to make this look pretty easy.
Yeah, I'm not doubting that he's going to do it. But you're on that much of a razor's edge when you have competitors that are this good competing under these bright lights here. And American bench record on his second attempt here.
2.7 times his body weight.
2.7 times his body weight. American record 10 for Michael today.
No shirt. This is all sick. American record attempt. Give him another round of applause. Let's go, Michael. Fire it up. Take it for a
I mean,
ride,
this is
Michael.
huge
Take it
right
for a
here.
ride.
Takes the bar out by himself. That's just amazing. That heavy a weight.
Oh.
Wow.
All right, bench press. So bench press has always been my lift. It's the one that I've been the most confident with, and it's always been my strongest lift, just because I've been doing it the longest. And so just like squats, I felt really confident about bench going into this meet. I've been chasing 200 kilos for the past few meets because it's been there for the past few meets. I've hit it in prep multiple times now, but just for different reasons, just couldn't hit it in meets before this. So for this one, I knew like 100%, no doubt, I'd be able to hit at least 200 keys. And I think if things would have gone perfectly, I would have honestly been good for about 207.5, which is 457. But I'll get into why I couldn't end up with that in a little bit. But anyway, like I said, once again with bench, I hit multiple rep PRs, multiple single PRs. And so going into this meet, I was ready for bench. I opened with 190 kilos, which was actually my previous best in a meet. And I'm opening with it now. So, I mean, that tells you everything that you need to know. And I smoked my opener of 190 kilos, 418 pounds, moved at extremely easy. So we could have jumped to 200 from there, but I wanted to kind of play it safe here, just because that already matched my best in meet. So I wanted to just make sure that we get all 3 attempts here. I really would have been fine with just stopping at 200, no more than that. But you know, obviously more was in the tank. So for the second, we ended up taking 198, which is, I want to say 3 kilos over the previous American record. But anyway, it was a nice, safe second and a huge meet PR for me. So we took that and I smoked it. But what happened after my bench opener was my hands, which I talked about this whole thing on my story a little bit, but I'll talk about it again just for the sake of this recap. But after my opener, my hands were literally like this. Like I was struggling to keep them open due to cramping, and my forearms started to hurt, and also my triceps started to hurt. So basically my whole upper body was starting to seize up, and it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. Going into my second attempt, it was pretty bad. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, going into my second attempt, it was pretty bad, but it was still manageable, and I was still able to smoke it. But by the time I got to my third, which was only 200 kilos, which was well under what I could have hit for the day had I not started to cramp up. But by the time I got to my third, I couldn't generate any force off my chest. So it was like when I lowered the weight, it felt fine. Everything was on point. But when I started to press it, it was like once I got right here, my arms, my upper body was just dead, just because I was still like cramping up, like I said. So I ended up with only 198 kilos, which was about 10 kilos off of what I think I would have been good for the day. So again, that's a little bit disappointing, but I'm still happy with hitting 198 pounds fairly easily, even while cramping up. So, you know, I didn't end with what I had on the day, but still ended with a pretty nice PR there. So anyway, we're gonna move on to my one deadlift attempt for the day with only 25 kilos, and I'll tell you why after this, what happened with that.
Kidding. I do, in fact, do that humble brag. But anyways, back to what we were saying. Yes, Michael, we hope that he has a very quick recovery.
All right, so this right here is easily the most disappointing part of this whole thing to me, because like I said, deadlifts have been the one lift for me that has given me the most trouble, just because I haven't been doing it as long as I've been squatting and benching. So it's one of those things. I mean, sumo deadlifting is very, very technical. So until you really dial that technique down, it's gonna give you trouble, no matter who you are. So starting right before Worlds, my technique had gotten much better with sumo, and then with this little time between Worlds and Ronettes, my technique just continued to get better with it, and I just continued to build it up and get stronger with it, all the way to pulling 290 kilos 2 weeks before not Worlds, 2 weeks before Raw Nationals. And so the way that my deadlift works is that when I'm under fatigue, my deadlift tanks like significantly, like a lot. Like, so whatever I pull in training it's pretty safe to assume that I'll be able to pull a good 15 to 20 kilos more in a meet, which it sounds like a lot. It sounds ridiculous, but that's how my deadlift has trended for pretty much every meet that I've done. And this one was not going to be any different, especially just based off of how my prep went, which it went extremely well this time around. But anyway, after bench, like I was saying, my upper body was already cramping up, and so this started to spread down to my lower body. And so after bench, I tried to do foam roll and just do everything that I could to get everything better, because I was like, this is not about to happen. I gotta finish this meet. I was in first place going into deadlifts, and so I was trying to do whatever to try and win this meet. So I went to take my first deadlift warm up. I set up and everything, and as soon as I locked the weight out, my entire body literally stiffened up and I fell. And it was like somebody just hit the off switch on my entire body, and everything hurt. I laid there for like 15 minutes. I could not move anything, and several people, thankfully several people were helping me out, trying to get me stretched out, trying to get me to be able to stand back up and move around again. But man, this is it was one of the scariest moments of my life, one of the most disappointing moments of my life, because I knew, like, at that point I wasn't going to be able to finish the meet. So I had to just pull the minimum to lock in a total so that I could register my American records. But man, that hurt, because this entire prep was just, everything was just clicking. Like, this is the best prep that I've ever had. And I was prepared to honestly total over 800 kilos on the day, or right at 800 kilos. Had I been able to pull what I 100% feel like would have been there, which was around 300 to 310 kilos, somewhere in that range, I would have been able to take first, which first in the open, and I also would have been able to hit the 800 kilo total. So I mean, that hurt a lot, and it still does, honestly. Like, just every time I think about it, it's just like, man, like, because I knew what would have happened. But you know, at the end of the day, it's all about long-term health. You know, we do a lot for this sport. We dedicate a lot of time. We fight through a lot of aches and pains and things like that. But at some point, you have to be able to be smart about things, and you have to realize that we got plenty more meets down the road. Outside of powerlifting, we have a life to live. We have other things that we have to do. So it's not always about, you know, trying to be hardcore, quote unquote, trying to fight through these things, trying to do whatever it takes. Sometimes you got to be able to take a step back and just be like, man, this isn't really worth it. I have to be more concerned about my health at some point than I have to be concerned about just competing. So that was the decision that had to be made in that moment, and it's tough, but you know, you move on and you train and you get ready for the next one. So with that being said, my plans, the next thing for me, it's gonna probably be the Arnold. I'll tell you guys later on which meet at the Arnold I'll be doing. I'm not gonna tell you in this video, but I'll announce all that later on. And honestly, after the Arnold, I'm probably not gonna do another meet until Raw Nationals 2020, because I want a nice long off season to continue to build even more. Since I haven't really had that yet, I've been doing pretty much 3 meets a year. So that's almost prepping back to back to back. So having that nice, like, 7 months or whatever, that'll give me even more time to go to Raw Nats next year, which is going to be in Florida. It's going to give me even more time to go there and be like 100% prepared. well, 110% prepared, since I was 100% prepared this time. But I mean, I'm putting it out there now. My goal is to go and win next year, and I'm fairly confident that I can do it with what I was able to do this year. And even though I wasn't able to finish, just knowing what I'm capable of and knowing what I will be capable of with another year of training under my belt, I'm coming for a gold next year, for sure. And at the Arnold, I'm making it a goal to total over 800 kilos. So I want that to be kind of like a statement meet for me, like to kind of, you know, come back and show what I'm really capable of, since I feel like I wasn't necessarily able to fully show that this time around. But anyway, that's pretty much all I have for this video. You guys will be seeing more videos from me now, just kind of showing some of my training now, since I have a little bit more downtime, just since it's kind of the quote-unquote off season. Even though for me, you know, I'm prepping for the next one all the time, and I'm ready for it now. I'm like super ready to come back and just show like a full meet, not just squatting and benching, but a full meet. But again, once again, I appreciate my boy Mark. I appreciate Dylan Vanderwerf, and I appreciate my boy, my coach Marcellus. Thank you for you know, helping me out. You know, we did something special for Raw Nets, and this next one, this next year is going to be even more special for us. So I'm really excited about that, and I'm excited to show what I can do. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, comment, and subscribe. And I will talk to you guys next time.